Hey, this is Paul with MakeUseOf.com, and if you're looking for a better and easier way to record professional audio, whether it's for streaming, podcasting, or making videos like this, then you'll be interested to learn about the new RØDECaster Pro II. The RØDECaster Pro II is one of the most powerful all-in-one audio production tools that you can buy today. And building off the original RØDECaster Pro, which was mostly targeted towards podcasters, the Pro II introduces a number of new features that make it more capable for a wider range of recording applications. And as I'll share, beyond podcasting, the RØDECaster Pro II is also great to add to any audio or streaming setup. And as someone who's always struggled to record high-quality audio reliably, adding the RØDECaster Pro II to my setup has been a game changer. For the past few months, I've been using the RØDECaster Pro II to help me produce a medical horror-themed podcast with two hosts called Diagnosing Horror.
And we are serious horror junkies with a love for all things morbid and macabre. We're also registered nurses whose journey through science, medicine, and research give us some pretty unique ways on how we look at things.
I've also been playing live music sessions with my drums, bass, and a guitar, and I've also, of course, been using it to record high-quality audio like this video. This has instantly become a must-have tool that has made my entire recording process easier, faster, and even more fun. But I would say for those strictly looking for a recording solution for their podcast, the new Pro II might not offer enough to justify the additional $200 difference over its predecessor. That said, the new Pro II can do a lot more this time around. The Pro II is marketed as an integrated audio production studio. It's somewhat pricey at $699, but the Pro II is much more than a digital mixer, as it's also an audio interface, recorder, and MIDI controller. If you were to price out individual solutions with similar features, you could easily spend 2, 3, even 4 times as much. And not to mention, it's definitely not going to be as compact as just the RØDECaster Pro II. At first glance, the Pro II might not look like a significant upgrade from its predecessor, but once you dig into its new settings and modes, you'll quickly discover that that's not the case. Internally, the Pro II now has a faster high-performance quad-core audio engine and studio-grade Aphex audio processing to handle low latency and real-time effects. And now with the new Pro II, these effects are actually more customizable as you can actually adjust the individual parameters. Previously, all you could really do is turn them on or off, so you didn't really have a lot of customization there. Also, a wider range of microphones and inputs are now supported, as the max preamp gain increases from 55 decibels to 76 decibels. And as such, Rode claims that the Pro II can actually eliminate the need for line boosters, like cloud lifters, and deliver cleaner audio overall. Previously, each fader was fixed, but now you can actually assign them however you wish. Using its new dual USB-C ports, 2 compatible devices can be connected at the same time to capture and output audio to and from them. If you plan on using the Pro II as a standalone device, it can be connected to the internet via Wi-Fi or Ethernet for easier firmware updates without the need of a computer. And as we were saying, the Pro II can be used for so much more than podcasting that you can now create what's called show settings, which basically saves your presets and different settings so you can easily switch between them whenever you need to. This will save your custom sounds, presets, and your smart pads, which allows you to switch to different setups as you need. So for example, if I have a lot of pads and settings and sounds that I use for the podcast, I can use that show. And then when I record these kind of videos, I can switch to this show. Also, the Pro II is now powered via USB-C, which makes it easier to power using third-party adapters, as well as even power banks if it supports 15 volts, 2 amps. The RØDECaster Pro II is a very colorful device. When you first turn it on, you have all these lights and a very bright and vibrant 5.5-inch haptic HD touchscreen, which basically acts as the brain for the unit. This here brings a larger rotary dial, which can be pushed or turned to change certain settings. The RØDECaster Pro II is actually about 2 inches skinnier than the previous generation. It weighs about 1,960 grams, it measures about 305 millimeters length by 270 depth, and 60 width. It's still relatively large, but it can fit onto a smaller desk setup like mine relatively easily. In order to make the Pro II smaller, the trade-off is that they've removed 2 physical faders from the original, giving you just 6 now. Though the input count hasn't dropped, as you still have 9 channels in total. 6 can be assigned to the physical faders, while the other 3 can be adjusted virtually by tapping the channel on the display and then using the dial. Below each channel, you'll find the same listen and mute buttons to quickly toggle between them without needing to actually adjust the fader. Above each channel is a colored button that can be coordinated to match with the line inputs for easy identification. And this is something Rode has been pushing pretty hard with their recent microphone and other audio solutions. And these are what their rings look like. You can place it on the far end towards the microphone of one input, and then you can color coordinate it on the other end on the RØDECaster. That way you can easily identify the channel. At its rear, the Pro II still has 4 microphone inputs, but a big change from its predecessor is that these are now combo XLR TRS inputs. This allows you to connect a 1/4-inch device such as a musical instrument without needing additional adapters. You still have the same 4 1/4-inch headphone outputs on the back, as well as a left-right 1/4-inch balanced line output. Each headphone has its own level control, while the balanced output is controlled by the rotary encoder from the Pro II's main screen. Just as with the original Pro, the Pro II supports Bluetooth, so you can connect other wireless devices, either for streaming or audio calls, so you can get that captured directly onto the device. Unfortunately, however, they've dropped the 1/8-inch TRRS input. But when you consider that most modern phones and tablets lack that jack anyways, it's not a huge loss when you think about it. Replacing it though, we now have an additional USB-C port, which brings us to a total of 2. With supported devices, this is the easiest way to connect to the Pro II. And using just one USB-C cable from my MacBook, I can capture its output from the device, and at the same time, I can monitor and record that audio directly to my computer. Devices like a Focusrite Scarlett can do this as well, but they definitely don't have as many features. But just as easily, I can also do this for a second computer at the same time. And this would definitely be great for streamers who have a dedicated computer where they're actually gaming and one that's capturing the live stream. Perhaps one of the biggest upgrades compared to the original Pro is that the Pro II has replaced its sound pads with 8 smart pads. These are more programmable and can be used to trigger similar functions as an Elgato Stream Deck. In addition to activating the Pro II's built-in voice effects like reverb, echo, pitch, robot effects, you can also send MIDI commands to external software and activate automated mixer actions like fade-ins and fade-outs. There's also a back and forwards button below those pads, so you can access a total of 64 options. The Pro II has 4 GB of built-in storage. You can load this up with custom sound effects, music beds, samples, or jingles. From the main screen, you can see a color code matched icon to the pads, letting you know at a quick glance what each pad is currently assigned to. Clicking the pad triggers them, while selecting them on screen allows you to tweak or switch them out. These options are especially useful when hosting a live show or baking in your effects or sounds straight into the recording, which means less need for editing later. More importantly though, I found when you activate these effects in real time, it makes it a little bit more authentic. Maybe there's just a moment that it feels like you need that sound effect to happen. So it just allows you to do it in real time, which is really powerful.
I can only hear your regular voice, so you sound really silly. You think I sound silly? Yes.
Hello there. Today marks an important occasion in history. Similarly, while the original Pro was best suited for audio recording, the smart pads can actually be integrated into video productions and streaming to quickly activate your transitions, camera angles, lighting, and more. For additional storage and on-device recording, the Pro II has a micro SD card slot on the back. You can either pop out that micro SD card and copy over the files with a card reader, or you can use the USB cable if it's connected directly to your computer to transfer those recordings over. Rode has a smaller record button, which is now found on the top right side. Press it once to start a recording, press it again to pause a recording, and press it and hold it to end recording. And as someone who frequently has run into that issue where you think you've recorded an entire video or voiceover only to realize you didn't for some reason or something went wrong, I love the ability to record directly to the RØDECaster as well as to my dedicated DAW at the same time. It never hurts to have that backup. And likewise, as you have multiple channels or tracks, depending on your DAW or software, it can either be read and understood automatically when connected to a computer, or when you're recording your session, it can output it to a polywave, which can then be interpreted. Honestly, you can easily spend hours playing around, tweaking the different effects, smart pads, and other assigned functions. As Rode states, no matter what kind of content you're creating, the RØDECaster Pro II can be customized to suit your recording setup, your ideal workflow, and your unique sound. And with all the available customization available to you, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed at first, but you'll be happy to know that during the setup process, they do guide you through it, explaining most of the key features. That way you can learn along the way. For my main setup, I have 2 Rode pod mics for my podcast hosts, a Rode NTG5, which is boomed above me, and that's where you're hearing the audio from. And sometimes I'll have a guitar or bass for when I want to play backing tracks from my Mac. After plugging everything in, there's a small red power button on the rear of the Pro II. I would say the small button is probably my only complaint with the RØDECaster. It's a little bit too small, and sometimes it requires a little bit too much pressure. It's a little bit awkwardly placed. Sometimes I miss it and I don't realize I haven't turned it on until I come back and see it hasn't booted. And so I think I would have definitely preferred a simple switch on the back instead. Once turned on, you're greeted with a very easy to follow on-screen tutorial for your first setup. After connecting to your Wi-Fi and checking for updates, you are shown how to create and customize your inputs. Categories are provided to quickly choose between different presets for Rode mics, generic mics, instruments, and mobile devices. And with their newer mics like the pod mic, you can just simply choose the default preset and you're ready to record. Other brands might require a little bit more tweaking, but choosing a similar generic option puts you in a good spot to start. You can then really adjust your sound using its effects like compressor, noise gates, high pass filter, de-esser, EQ for each channel. Additionally, you have the option to add phantom power for your condenser microphone if you need it. And the room I record in here is definitely far from sound treated. It's especially susceptible to outside noise like cars, birds, and chatter. I usually have a very difficult time recording videos like this because of all the noise that I hear outside. But with the Pro II, this was one of the first times that I didn't feel like I needed to add any additional noise reduction or EQ tweaks to get the sound sounding like I wanted. And so for $699, you get a lot with the new RØDECaster Pro II. It might not be for everyone, but if you're doing more than just podcasting, I would say a lot of the new features you get with this upgrade should be worth it, as it's more capable of helping you record, live stream, all kinds of content with minimal experience required. It's definitely an investment, but again, when you consider how many products it helps you replace, it becomes a no-brainer if your production warrants it. The Pro II is more customizable than its predecessor, and as such, it allows you to be more bold and creative in the process. I can easily say that the RØDECaster Pro II is the most essential part of my entire recording setup right now, just because of how quickly and reliably I can record audio with just a click of a button. This has been Paul with MakeUseOf.com. Let us know what you think about the new RØDECaster Pro II. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. And until the next one, we'll catch you later.